What are you up to in LA?
I've lived here for 3 years, but touring sort of made it so I was not in one place for a very long time. Yeah, LA's home, but touring makes it sort of feel like there isn't much of a consistent home.
That makes sense.
Like harder to be grounded type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Where are you from then?
I grew up in Vancouver and in Maui with my mom. Yeah. How about y'all? Just everybody is sort of born and raised Kelowna?
I was born in Vancouver and then here when I was pretty young, so still raised in Kelowna.
How do you describe the music scene? Like, how did you sort of get drawn to knowing that you wanted to be in a band?
I mean, for me, I started, I'd already been in like music lessons beforehand, but it was kind of just like, I wasn't super interested in it. You know, it was like mom signed me up for piano lessons type of thing.
Yeah.
Our music school puts on these like, they're like these little mini rock concerts. They group the students together and put them in like bands to perform a song at the community theater. And so I'd say once I started getting involved in like that type of like part of the music scene, that little community, that's when I was like, oh, this is actually, it's like a whole new world that I didn't know anything about. And I was really, really interested in performing and in making music. So I'd say that's, for myself, that's how it started.
That's so cool. So this program is just like, was it just part of your school in general, or was it like part of the lessons?
Like our music lessons, like our music school, not our like actual high school, because we've all been in this concert. But yeah, it's kind of just like, it's just
an own like music school.
Yeah. And so the whole concert thing where you're like put into bands, that's just kind of like a little like an option that's available. Like it comes up once a year. Yeah. Where it's like, oh, like the teachers are like, oh, well, do you want to like be involved in this year type of thing? So
that's so cool that they like would prioritize that. And is that how you put the band together? Is you all did one of those together? How
we all met was Aria and I. We went to the same middle school and we kind of just recognized each other in passing in the hallways wearing like the same type of like band merch. And so it took until like literally the last day of school when I would be moving on to high school to like kind of have the courage to be like, oh, hey, you're pretty cool. Do you want to like jam sometime?
That's so cute.
Yes.
What was the band merch?
She was wearing a lot of like Bring Me merch, Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that type of stuff. And then from there.
What were you wearing?
It was
kind of similar.
Yeah, like Spirit Box.
Oh,
like
word. Yeah, Victoria's Own.
Yeah. And then
about a month later, Jonah was doing like a solo gig downtown, and I was like, I know this guitarist, and because Quinn was out of town, so we didn't meet together, and then we formed a band.
Yeah, basically.
It was super duper awkward.
It was so awkward.
We're all so introverted, and so we were like, oh, hi.
Hey there, yeah.
That's cool, though. Music sort of becomes the language, and sort of like in those situations, though, doesn't it? Where it's like,
yeah,
you know,
like the common denominator.
Yeah. Bring Me the Horizon and Spirit Box. So, I was listening to your music today, and I can definitely hear that in it. There's like some really technical and melodic and really like dark sort of elements to it. When you're writing a song, how did the more sort of technical elements get written? Do you write something simple to begin with, and then the other band members get their hands on it and sort of
like mold it from there?
Yeah, like add their parts that like only they could sort of like be capable of. Like, does it feel like that?
Yeah. So sometimes it would start with like, for me, it would start with like a bass riff.
That's where a lot of like the complex parts of it come from, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say Aria usually will come in with some weird riff that she doesn't know the time signature of. She'll bring it to us, and then we'll try to figure it out. And then I think a lot of the time we'll usually get complicated rhythms or like different ones that can sound complex, usually from me, and creating the drum parts like on the spot. And we'll form the riff using the melodies that these two get and then the rhythm that I bring in. So that's kind of how we form.
That's so cool. So it all comes from a pretty technical place. I hear that's sort of how Radiohead does it as well, where Tom York will have like a creative idea and bring it to the band, and then they'll sort of make musical sense of it.
Yeah.
It's a cool way to do it.
Is it a similar process for your band?
What's the process for my band? I write for the most part on the acoustic guitar. So I'm mostly just thinking about melody and lyrics. And I write something with like maybe a bit of a style or a genre in mind. But I just sort of make the skeleton of what I think would be a good song. And then Mike and Clark and Cole sort of shape it to make it something that, you know, is sort of beyond my imagination for it, which is really cool. Like I can play guitar decently well, but some of the parts that I've written that then I've handed to Clark, he's made you know, infinitely more interesting. But yeah, I play to my strengths, and that's melody, lyrics, songwriting, and then sometimes we'll co-write with somebody. Kevy helped write most of the Pity Party record that we just put out. That's a really interesting experience because you're just trying to make the coolest thing possible. And, you know, when two people meet up to write a song, like they're both bringing a lifetime of music knowledge and taste and opinion. And sometimes it can feel really amazing to get to a point where you're sort of stumped by a song and have the other person know exactly what to do to sort of get out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've definitely experienced that as well, or at least I have, where I'll bring something and I'm like, I have no idea where it's supposed to go from there. And one of these two is just like, oh, well, obviously it goes here, you know? And and returning to like the original thing you were talking about like when you initiate the song, when it's like you and your like acoustic guitar and you kind of crafting the melody and stuff, I found that really interesting because that's like whenever I'm initiating a song, that's exactly what I do as well. And it's usually pretty simple, you know, it's usually like some chords and a melody and kind of crafting the general like the vibes of it. And then I bring it to these two, and I'd say overall it's like you guys make it more intricate with like the rhythms and all of those types of things. So I don't know, I think that's really interesting because you and I definitely, it sounds like we have a similar type of process as far as when we both start writing a song. So that was really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's the only way I've really known how to do it. When I knew less about music, I had the exact concept of what you guys sort of brought up. Like you guys are far more technically savvy than I was when I started music. Like I would write a song and think it was in 4/4 the whole time or whatever, think it was all in the same time signature. And my bandmates who knew prog and sort of understood that I was sort of like rhythmically challenged would be like, oh, okay, he's going to 6/4 here, and then it's like a push there, and like, so they actually took...
that's what Jonah does for us. We'll bring him something and he's like, he just explains it. He's like, yeah, so basically this is actually what
that's
it is.
really cool. Yeah, I mean, it's a super creative, cool way to write songs because, yeah, those ideas can be so amazing, but so hard to articulate and communicate. And it just sounds like you guys have like a healthy way of going about that.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And going back to what you said about sometimes not exactly knowing what you're writing, I can relate to that. And sometimes like I'm definitely working on it, but also sometimes I find it's easier to not know all of the theory behind what you're writing in the moment, because then you put yourself in a box and you get stuck and you kind of lose the creative freedom. But if you figure it out afterwards, then you can just like, you don't have to like write in the lines. You can just kind of do whatever you want and then figure it out afterwards.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
That's the reason I didn't go to music school, was actually like, you know, it might sound sort of cocky or highfalutin in retrospect, but I thought ability to sort of break the rules with music was my gift. I just wanted it to feel right. It didn't have to be right. And I was afraid that learning too much about theory would throw out what I brought to the table, the originality of what I was bringing to the table. I'm sure there's a way to explain everything I was writing, but I was pretty uninterested in the explanation. And I'm really happy I didn't go to music school, because I'm pretty sure I was I would have been too insecure, I think, to be surrounded by incredible musicians.
I definitely agree with that. I see that for sure. I also don't like to really know what I'm writing. Kind of like what we said, I think Aria and I would just like to dump all of our ideas, and then Jonah just kind of translates it all, and it's like, hey, this is how we move from here. So it's nice to have that. But yeah, I love how you have like this mentality of like kind of like breaking the rules of like just like music is art. And I think a lot of people kind of forget that sometimes, you know, and they get too in their heads of like, it's supposed to be this, and then it's supposed to be this, and then it's supposed to be this. And I think that for the type of job that like all of us have in the music industry, I think that we just have to create, and you just have to do what feels right for you, you know?
For sure.
My philosophy is, if it's coming from the heart and you're trying not to repeat yourself, everything is sort of allowed. Like whatever genre, like whatever is you're being pulled towards, if it's honest, like an audience will be on board with it, because it's honest to you, right? And we don't only listen to one genre of music, so why would we make only one genre of music?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah. Preach.
100%.
I was wondering just about the scene. I remember growing up sort of being the step-headed red child of the music scene that I was in. Like I wanted desperately to seem cool to the other bands, but that didn't happen, which sort of became this like superpower later on. The fact that like nobody really could pinpoint what we were going for sort of made it sort of made it unique. The fact that I, could try to sing like Robert Plant, but I'd never be able to. So I was forced to sing like myself, and that sort of created a path for what the music could be. Like, what did you feel like you fit into it?
That's a great question, actually.
We're kind of this like in between where if we were put with like a local deathcore band, we were too light. If we were put with like an acoustic guitarist, we were too heavy.
Right.
We were kind of this like in between. So sometimes it was like,
yeah,
where are we supposed to fit?
Yeah, which can definitely lead to some insecurity. Like, especially at least for me, like early on, it was like you get up on stage and it's like, well, regardless of who we're playing with, people are gonna be like, oh, well, they're too poppy, or they're not, like, like it was always just like, yeah, but I don't feel that anymore.
Me too.
Yeah. I think that over time we've realized that people don't really care as much as we thought they did.
Yeah.
And I don't know, people just like to hear live music, so it doesn't really matter. So,
and for music, there's so much of an energy to it, where you can go to a show where maybe it's a genre or an artist that you wouldn't necessarily seek out, but like if like, just like, do you know what I mean? Like the vibe of the performance and the people who show up and all of that, like if that's good, then you can still enjoy yourself, even if it's not necessarily your favorite music in the whole world, So I think also kind of learning that it's just connecting with people, and it doesn't necessarily have to be their favorite music in the world,
Yeah.
Because that doesn't matter. It's just you making your own art,
Completely. And I think like that's a great distinction to make, right? So like you can watch somebody perform and sort of know that it's not necessarily for you, but simply how undeniable their passion and approach is can sometimes win me over on something that I would never listen to regularly.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah,
I agree.
What's sort of an unexpected influence from each of you in terms of like, obviously you're playing in Freeze the Fall, you're doing a thing, you're making music, and somebody goes, oh, like who inspires you? And then who's the bands and the acts that make people go like them? How does that work?
Well, I feel like this isn't surprising to people anymore because I say it a lot. Like, I love an artist called Kiki Rockwell. Her whole vibe is like really like based in fairy tales and folklore and that whole. And she doesn't make it's like kind of poppy, folky music. It doesn't sound like what we write, but I really love the whole ethereal but like creepy foresty vibes.
I love that you brought that to the hypothermia video. Is that like a 1-1 comparison, or was that
exactly?
coincidence?
Yeah.
Those types of vibes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
It's fucking cool, man. That's cool that you've sort of combined an aesthetic of something you liked with your music that doesn't necessarily seemingly have connective tissue. I dig that. That's really cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
How about you two?
I'd say like Foo Fighters.
Oh, no way.
Inspired. Yeah, totally. I've loved Foo Fighters for a long time, and I really love bringing that like powerful kind of feel into our music. I don't know.
The anthemic thing that they do. I can hear that. That makes sense.
Yeah. For me, like if we're talking about like unexpected inspiration, there's this artist that Quinn got me into called Baby Bugs. And she's like this very like soft but kind of creepy aesthetic, and I really like it. Her music is nothing like ours, but I don't know.
It's like cutesy, creepy.
Yeah,
like,
on some of our like I can't say much, but there's some stuff we're working on now that's like, you know, a little bit down that road.
Inspired by them.
Yeah, so I don't know. She's been a big inspo.
That's exciting. That's so cool. Because sometimes there's like these really obvious influences that a band wears on its sleeve that they're sort of sick of being compared to. And then there's these...
Oh no!
Yes!
Better close to home.
Oh yeah? What's the comparison?
We probably shouldn't say.
No. Everyone knows who it is.
Everyone who would from our fan base would know, but we're not going to say.
It's a bit of a sticking point. Okay,
but we're
that's fine.
grateful for all the support from this fan base.
Yes.
Like we wouldn't be anywhere without them. But we're Freeze the Fall.
Yeah, fucking end, man. I remember sort of initially when people started comparing Hotel Mira to the Killers, I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't like I like that band, but I didn't really see the overlap. And then more and more people did it, and I was like, oh, okay. Luckily, it's the band I like, you know.
Yeah, and I'm learning. I'm like thinking now, like I think a lot of it is people just trying to understand, you know, like some new artist comes out and they just like have their own thing. And it's like, I don't really understand what's happening. So I think the way that they can process it is to label it. Cause that's just what people do.
Yeah.
Right?
It's almost a more like human philosophical problem that we have, where rather than letting something be its own entity, we go, oh, it's kind of like if you mix this with this, these two things that we already sort of are familiar with. Or like, it's as though Bowie was making music in 2025, and it's like, well, it probably isn't at all. But like, but I get why like people want these reference points, and it's sort of none of your business.
Yeah, honestly. And also, like, I used to, before I was in Freeze the Fall and doing all this, I would make those types of comparisons sometimes. So I'd be like explaining an artist. But now, like, I also understand now that people who like aren't in like the type of position that all of us are in, it's like you don't understand how that can be hurtful.
Yeah. Like so you do it less now. That's cool.
Yeah. So like I understand now why that can be like almost hurtful or like annoying to people sometimes. Yeah. So like I also understand where they're coming from, where it's like, oh well, they haven't been in that position, so they don't completely understand, which is fine.
Totally. Yeah.
That's so interesting. Okay, yeah. I completely agree. I think you're learning that lesson about 10 years before I did, so that's exciting. From what you're saying, there is a high likelihood of creepy anthemic fairy on this next record.
Culty, creepy forest vibes.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. That sounds like a lyric for. Oh my God! Can I tell you a pet peeve?
Yeah, go for it.
Being in the studio and you're just trying to have a normal day or like recording or your whatever, and then you say something, you make a joke, and somebody goes, "That's a title."
Yeah.
That's a chorus, and you're like, no, it fucking isn't.
It takes like months to write a chorus. You can't just say like a word.
It's like the worst thing you've heard in your life.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's like, yeah. I remember I was describing, there's a song we had called Son-in-Law off the Perfectionism album. And it's a pretty like, it's like a protest song, essentially. It's like a lot of intense sort of complaining about the state of the world. And I was co-writing it with these two dudes in Toronto, and they were sort of like asking me what the song was about, and I was like, you know, man, the fucked up thing of it is, and he was just like, stop. That's the title.
No.
And I was like, no, it isn't at all. But I'm glad you like having that talk. I don't want to let any cats out of any bags, but you sort of admitted to new music being on the horizon. Can you tell me anything about the process?
Once again, very different. So far, all of the like records we've worked on, the like writing process changes a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this one is our first full length. We have 2 EPs out right now, but this is our first time with like a full length. So
Yeah.
Hell
Yes.
yeah. So is the concept just the 10 coolest songs you could think of? Or is it like built-in themes and like ideas that you keep coming back to?
So it's going to be a concept album. So each song will follow and tell a cohesive story.
Yes.
So yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah, which
that's amazing. That's so cool.
we did that on our most recent EP, The Red Garden. And we're still kind of slowly releasing like all the details of the storyline to the fan base right now. But we did that, and we realized how fun it is to like create your own little lore and put in all the Easter eggs and stuff and watch it all come together. And as a fan, it's really fun to kind of like
Figure out.
like for the as a fan, it's fun to kind of figure out what the artist was trying to say, and we realized that that's a really fun process to go through. So we're like, let's just try it, but like times 10 in like a full length.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. Like we toured with a band that is very tied to sort of these like animated characters in their videos and storylines, and they actually made like a whole film and stuff. And when I tell you, it makes for such a loyal and dedicated fan base.
I can imagine.
Those kids just were so diehard, and they were dressing up as the characters at the shows. Like it was very Rocky Horror, very cool. Like I like anything where people are like not afraid to be geeks and nerds about shit. What you're describing sounds like it has a high capability of people being able to geek out and sort of theorize and be a part of it, right? Like almost interactive.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely interactive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to know sort of like from where you guys are sitting these days, what is the best way to get your music heard? What do you think is the best way to find and build an audience?
Like
Yeah.
live is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Just do like open mics and just try to like get out there.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think
Play
like
lives.
getting out in the local scene, and not just playing shows, but like seeing other bands live and supporting them, other local bands.
And like networking and getting to know people.
Yeah, that's super important, because then you can get to know them, and then they'll maybe
Book you.
invite you out to shows and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's really important for sure.
I love that answer because it's so rooted in love for music, right? It's like you'd basically be doing that anyway. And it's a cool metric to sort of remember in terms of like, you know, if you're trying to build this audience, like what's behind that? Like is it all coming from a love of like a pure love of music? Because that in itself is its own reward.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And I think for us, another big part of that whole process of, I guess, building the fan base and getting to know more people has been the Reactor community on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, there's been a lot. I don't know what the number is at right now.
600.
Yeah,
Reactions.
to our music, which that was like super unexpected. It just started
Yeah.
happening. But we've learned that for us, at least, that's been such a key part of just growing the fan base and meeting new people, right? Because these YouTubers, these reactors are exposing their whole community to our music, and then the people who love it stay, and then it just gets bigger and bigger. So,
Yeah.
and then we make friends with the reactors as well, right? And they've come out to our shows and stuff. So that's an important part for us as well.
That's such a cool exchange, right? Because they're almost like everybody just is sort of like participating in this like creativity and like sharing the thing that they're proud of. And not to sound like a hippie, but that sounds like such a pure-hearted approach, right? It's just like you make something cool and then somebody sort of puts their spin on it.
How do I explain it? Like, we do want it to be very human. Like, obviously the attention is going to be on us, but we want it to feel like a group effort, like the fans and the reactors and everyone is a part of this whole community. It's not just like, look at me, look at me, look at me. Obviously there has to be an element of that because we are the band, right? But I think the reactors have been such an important part of that community because then everyone's chiming in and talking about what they think the songs are about. And then the reactors can be proud of the reactions that they put out there and building their own communities. So all of that is just, it's really important to us.
Yeah, the way I started to think of it was what the fans were sort of doing with the music, the way that they were interpreting it, what it was, what it meant to them was like far more interesting than any of sort of who I was as a person or the music itself. Like, I'm proud to be the focal point of what the fans exist around, but really what they're doing with each other and what they're doing with the music as the soundtrack of is the best way for me to sort of wrap my head around having fans in the first place, because it's so cool to sort of see the effect you can have, but also sort of understand that the thing is, it's way bigger than any of us. And it's about this sort of collective love of music. Would it be Spirit Box in terms of a dream band to open for or collaborate with?
Yeah.
That's...
We wouldn't say no to that.
Yeah.
That's a great choice there. I think that's what I would say.
It's realistic too, because they're from the same province. They're a couple hours over.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we have a lot of mutuals with them. So.
They just took my friend Dev and their band Honey Revenge are gonna open for them on a big old tour. So they definitely seem to have their finger on the pulse in terms of working with really, really cool young bands. So I guess my last sort of question would be if there was anything in film and TV that sort of inspired the band.
Our song VHS off our latest record, I'd say that one was inspired by horror films in particular. And the music video, that definitely is the visual for that. If you want to check it out, it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say that we've been inspired by like many different mediums, but horror movies is definitely one for that song especially.
And it happened very naturally because we quickly realized that that's something that we all have in common. So especially early on when we first met and we'd first be having those rehearsals, we'd play music for a few hours and then we'd just hang out and watch horror movies for so long. And so it naturally integrated itself into certain elements of our music. So
I love that. So what is each of your favorite horror film, if you could break it down to one?
Well, Aria and I always fight to see who can say the first Saw movie first. So let's take that away. The first Saw movie is off limits.
Oh wow, yeah, I love that one.
I really like a movie called Midsummer.
I like Midsummer. Have you seen Eddington?
I have not.
It's his latest movie, the writer of Midsummer. It's really cool.
No way. Well, it sounds like we'll have to watch.
Sounds like we've got a new horror movie to watch.
It's in theaters now. This whole thing was nabbed for Eddington.
Oh, we should go check that out then.
Let's do it.
Did you like it?
I really liked it. Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Perfect. Well, we'll check it out.
Check it out.
Yeah.
What else is coming up?
I'd say my favorite's probably the Blair Witch Project.
Good choice. That's rad.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
I really like one called The Hereditary.
Love Hereditary. Same filmmaker as Midsummer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Hereditary is so cool.
Yeah, that movie's awesome. Okay, and my last question, just because my brother now plays in a hardcore band, and my brother Sam, I think, was a big inspiration for me just wanting to be in the arts in general, because I saw him do the school plays and stuff. And then my dad was really opinionated about music, didn't really make any of his own, but like he always had records on. So I'm wondering if you guys come from musical families.
There's lots of musicians in my family, especially my dad's side. He plays the drums, and then lots of my uncles and cousins sing and play guitar.
That's awesome.
Yeah, not necessarily like the same genre, but still grew up around musicians for sure.
And they're able to see that you're embarking on this thing, and they're like, we get it, like give them hell kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
Very
really cool.
supportive.
My family's never been very musical, but I did grow up on a lot of like radio and classic rock, grunge, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they're very supportive of me. So
Oh, that's amazing. That's so cool that they can sort of not have a history in it, but sort of see that it's like what you're passionate about.
They're music lovers, just not players.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah, my parents don't play instruments, but both of them really, they're very passionate about music and about art and kind of, deconstructing all of that and making it mean your own thing. So I definitely grew up a lot like around that type of environment. And both of them have been very supportive of my own musical endeavors. So very supportive family.
That's amazing. Well, I guess we'll wrap then. Have a great rehearsal. It was so cool to pick your brains.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was so nice to chat with you. It's been super nice.
Thanks for having us.
Like that.